This is one of the biggest misconceptions. So when I started out, people would always say that, wag na tayo mag-US because it's volatile. Let's just stick to Philippine stocks. But if you look at it, the US markets just follow the same principles. Hits the 50-day, upholds the uptrend. Hits the 50-day, bounces. Hey guys, so we are just about to end June 2021. So just like that, no, it's already been half a year of trading and investing for us. And it's been more than 16 months already since we entered this new normal of the pandemic and lockdowns. But what I think, no, that we should consider as investors and people who trade, invest online is that it's still a blessing that we get to do what we love. We get to invest, we get to build on assets that will work for us, even though we are at the safety of our homes. There's not a lot of pressure to go out or even to be exposed to the elements and somehow be insulated from the virus, but also still have a chance to earn and make our money work hard for us. Since it's almost the end of the first half of the year, what I want to do is I want to compare, gauge, and also look at the performance of the three main markets where I'm investing at: the Philippine Stock Exchange, cryptocurrencies, primarily Bitcoin, then the S&P 500. You know, I've been super passionate about US stocks and the cryptocurrency market. But the main point, I guess, that I want to show you here is that you will find cycles in each of these markets that no matter how bullish we are at a certain market, corrections will happen, dips will happen, and the money really is in positioning properly when it gives you a larger upside, when it gives you margin. It doesn't mean that you're not supposed to buy during breakouts, but as long as you're following your plan, even if it's buying higher, knowing that you have a higher margin when the breakout would happen, then I think it's totally fine. We ended 2020 being super optimistic about the Philippine Stock Exchange, meaning we saw it at the end of the year push higher, only to see it start to spiral down when there were new cases that started to explode in the Philippines, and then the vaccine rollout was slower, and then we went into another lockdown. Then we saw the market start to drop once again. And what was so interesting about that is at the start of the year, the US markets were surging. I don't know if you remember, it seems so long ago already that we were talking about GameStop at the start of the year. Tesla was still doing well before it started to drop massively a couple of months back. But the start of the year, in my opinion, was a really interesting time for US stocks. Then a few weeks after that, we saw the cryptocurrency market started to surge. While all of that was happening, the Philippine Stock Exchange was a bit lackluster. That being said also, tides would change. While we saw the cryptocurrency market surging, and then the Philippine market lagging, we saw the US markets also correct down. But what's interesting now is this. At some point in April, up until around May, or even up until now, we saw the cryptocurrency market be pushed down, that there was massive selling, that it's even below certain key support levels, even at this point in time. But while that was happening, we saw action in the Philippine markets. It was the Philippine markets pushing up, holding its ground, rebounding, and starting to reverse. And right now also, June 2021, we're just seeing Bitcoin build a base while we're seeing the Philippine Stock Exchange Index hit about 7,000. And we're seeing US markets push continually higher. I guess I just want to put this into full circle. If you remember the videos that I've been saying, me buying Philippine stocks when it was boring, when it was down, when it was not going anywhere, is paying off right now. And in the same way also that cryptocurrency markets are down right now, I know it will massively pay off. The lower they are right now, the more I get to actually stack. I really believe the good tokens and coins will recover. And when they do, the money is always in the positioning, and positioning lower will reap massive benefits, not just now, but even later on in the future. Now, let's look at what the year-to-date returns are for these three markets. I'm just going to use the Philippine Stock Exchange Index for the PSE. Then I'm going to use the S&P 500 for the US markets. Then for the cryptocurrency market, since there's really no broad index/benchmark, we'll use Bitcoin as a reference point. So year to date, this does not include buying the dip. This does not include people who cost average. This does not include the gains, that if you buy it from support and resistance, it does not include all of that. This is year to date. If you started investing at the start of the year, placed once, forgot about it, and did nothing, who is the best performer? Rounding up, the bottom three is the Philippine Stock Exchange Index, which is currently down year to date 3.13%. So please do notice this negative 3.13%, the losses were even bigger if the market did not start to rebound. So the value of the index at the end of the year is still higher than where we are today. Next is the S&P 500 at 13.59%. It's up in spite of the lackluster movement the past few weeks. Number one is Bitcoin at 18.34%. Yes, in terms of year-to-date returns, Bitcoin is still beating the Philippine Stock Exchange Index. Bitcoin is still beating the S&P 500, even when it's actually down still right now from its all-time high. And that's what makes it interesting. And that's what's nice about having multiple portfolios. When one is bad, and when another is pushing up, the one that's bad you get to accumulate on because they're cheaper. But what's nice about that also, the one that's performing well, you get to ride that uptrend. You get to maximize the gains that you have for that. Okay, so this is the Philippine Stock Exchange Index. Let's just zoom out from the start. So this is how it is. We were somewhere around here. And even if you compare it at the last point from the trading day yesterday, we're still not close to where we started the year. Hence, it being relatively down. But that being said though, if you invested at the lowest point, which was here, which is also hard to do, by the way, just for the sake of putting reversals into this. If you draw a trend line here, right here, and you use either the reversal from the MACD, which is around here telling you to buy here, or even the breakout from the 200-day moving average, you would still be up from here to here. I think this is around 5.2%. If you use the breakout from the 50-day moving average, it'd be up 8.1%. If you use the breakout from the 20-day moving average and the reversal from the trend line, you'd be up 11%. If you use also same thing, it also coincides to where the MACD is in terms of rebounding. So I guess the key point that I want to share here is that, okay, it's true that the Philippine Stock Exchange Index year to date is down. However, if you use technical analysis, you use chart patterns, you use trend lines, you use indicators, you could be more strategic on where your entry points are. So at least from a chart pattern perspective, we are seeing the Philippine Stock Exchange Index start to reverse, but not just start to reverse. We're actually seeing it also start to build its base higher. And it's a very, very important ingredient for those who want to follow uptrends. So if this may look a bit complicated to all of you, before I continue, I'd like to invite you next Stock Smart session where we're going to talk about technical analysis, all of this that we're discussing here, which you can apply for Philippine, US, and also crypto markets. We will discuss this on the second and third weekends of June. Saturday and Sunday, they are all half-day sessions with one goal, one intent, to educate you, to help you select, time the markets with confidence. So we're going to talk about indicators, Bollinger Bands, Fibonacci retracements, and so much more. So links are in the description below if you want to join us, or you can also learn more about technical analysis from the books that I've written in Shopee as well. So this is the S&P 500. Let's just zoom out from the start of the year. So it's a very, very stark difference from what's happening in the Philippines. The Philippines started the year with a downtrend. Then we saw it start to reverse at some point a couple of weeks ago. The S&P 500, which depicts the US market, that's what I said, yung kwento ko at the start of the video. You can see it right here. Boom. Right smack in the middle of all of this. It was already high kasi if I'll zoom out, at some point, January 2021, it was already high. But that's the strength of following uptrends. That's the strength of knowing where the trend is. When you know where the trend is, totoo, there will be corrections, there will be downward moves, there will be days that it will be in the red. But as long as the trend does not bend, you don't actually need to panic. You don't actually need to sell. You just have to follow where it's actually headed. There, so as you can see it right here, very, very different that it's in an uptrend. And as what I've mentioned, some choppiness and volatility. You see some downward corrections, February, pero hit the 50-day moving average bounce. downward correction March, it broke down a bit, but it was a false broke out. The next day it went back up, then bounced again. Then March hit the 50-day moving average, bounced again. May hit the 50-day moving average, bounced again. Then June also hit the 50-day moving average, then it bounced again. So the reason why I'm saying this is, okay, that's a very, very interesting characteristic of what's happening in the S&P 500. That's a very, very interesting characteristic of what's happening in the US markets, that it's upholding its uptrend. When you have stocks that are in uptrends, it would be very, very prudent for you to just continually maximize it and ride it while it's still pushing up. And that being said, no, all moving averages, 20, 50, 100, 200 that I use, and even MACD, is still confirming that it's moving up. And if you put a line here, you can actually see this. It's breaking out from the 4,258 resistance level. And if that holds as a new level of support, then there's a big likelihood that, hey, we could possibly see larger strides in the US markets as well. So again, difference, Philippine market reversing, it's starting to build its own uptrend. US markets never left the uptrend. And it has shown us time and time again this year how strong the 50-day moving average support is. And it has shown us time and time this year that it hasn't gotten out of the trend yet. And lastly, it's breaking out still from the resistance. And that's why it's up. So as you can see also from the start of the year of 2021, Bitcoin has made a run up. You can see at the first half of the chart right here that it came from around 10,000 US dollars. And I remember interviewing Yoni Asia of eToro a couple of months back that he was so excited that it broke out 13,000 level at that time, and people were already so excited about it. Then we ended the year higher. So Bitcoin, similar to the US markets, were pushing massively as the year started. Then as we saw it push up, it hit as high as 64,000. That was one of the highest points that we had for Bitcoin for the year. Then right after that, we saw it correct massively. Here's, I think, the biggest difference of the US markets and the cryptocurrency market. It has gone up massively and it has gone down massively. But even if it has gone down massively, it started the year relatively lower. That's why it's still our winner in terms of year-to-date earnings, because true enough, no, at some point this year, bumaba siya lower than the starting point that it became negative for the year. But as it started to rebound from where it is right now, close to the 34,000 level, its gains are decently higher than what you can get compared to the US markets. If you notice it, US markets and crypto markets at this point in time, medyo dikit na siya. And you will see the difference also when you start analyzing the charts. This is one of the biggest misconceptions. So when I started out, people would always say that, wag na tayo mag-US kasi it's volatile, let's just stick to Philippine stocks. But if you look at it, the US markets just follow the same principles. Hits the 50-day, upholds the uptrend. Hits the 50-day, bounces. What you will see in terms of volatility for the crypto markets is basically when it hit the 50-day moving average, when it hit the 100-day moving average, when it hit the 200-day moving average, those broke. Large sell-offs in the crypto markets can disregard and blatantly destroy strong support levels, even long-term moving averages. And in the same way, there's a lot of volatility. It doesn't mean you can't earn, because volatility is your friend. You have to pick what's your style. Because right now also, we're looking at 3 different markets and 3 different patterns. The Philippine Stock Exchange Index is reversing, building a base into an uptrend. The US market has been massively consistent in an uptrend. The cryptocurrency market is still trying to hold on. It's still bearish right now, consolidating in its lows, and it actually needs evidence of a reversal. So in terms of hierarchy from the charts, the US stock market still in an uptrend. The Philippine stock market reversing from a downtrend and building on its own uptrend. The cryptocurrency market is bearish from a 20, 100, and 200-day moving average perspective. It's consolidating in its lows, and we're still waiting for it to reverse. So if you'll superimpose it, it looks like what the Philippine stock market was a couple of months back. I think it just goes to show how different markets are. It goes to show also that whatever skills that you have in technical analysis, you can use, you can superimpose, you can deploy into different markets, because as long as the skills are there, as long as you know what you're getting into, you can use those techniques and disciplines to trade markets in your favor. And if you notice, that's what we did this whole time. We just looked at price, then we looked at historical movements, then we just looked at the charts. And that's what's so interesting about it. That's why I believe technical analysis is everything. That As long as you know how to read how markets would go, it would allow you to trade any market in the world. So there, I hope you guys got a lot from this, and I hope that this is something that's super insightful for all of you. If you'd like to invest in US markets, lahat ng discuss ko sa US markets, you can try go trade, no? You can invest in US markets for $1 only. Links are in the description below. You can use the code right here for you to be able to enter because it's invite only. Then, for those who want to dabble into the cryptocurrency market, to dabble into Bitcoin, you can check out Binance. Link is in the description below also, where you can actually trade for $10 only. For Philippine stocks, check the description below. And lastly, Forex markets, XM, they're giving you $30 when you sign up. But above and beyond that, if you trade this month up to a maximum of $500. If you enter $300, they're gonna match it and give you $300 more. So you have extra money that you can actually use to trade the Forex markets. I hope you guys got a lot from this, and I hope that this is something that's insightful for all of you. If you're new to this, my name is Marvin German. I make daily videos on the markets, all aimed to help you trade, all aim to help you win. And if you want more of this, like, share, subscribe, and smash the bell so you get updated every time I come up with new content about investing. So that's it for now. Marvin Germo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, guys, and God bless you all.